I don't give a goddamn what's on its way. I want that chopper back here right now.
The Rambo, almost never existed. He was supposed to die. He was supposed to be far more violent. And the movie that introduced him nearly ended up destroyed by its own star. So what went so wrong behind the scenes that this movie nearly disappeared before becoming a classic? On October 22nd, 1982, Rambo First Blood introduced moviegoers to John Rambo, a forgotten Vietnam veteran who turns the wilderness into his only refuge. What looked like a straightforward action movie was actually the result of years of failed development, rewritten scripts, changing stars, and a production fighting the elements. And before the cameras stopped rolling, the chaos behind the scenes would become almost as unbelievable as what happened on screen. Number 16. It took 10 years to make Rambo. The strangest thing about First Blood is how long Hollywood struggled to make it. David Morrell's novel came out in 1972, but the film spent years trapped in development. Studios changed, scripts were rewritten, and different filmmakers tried to figure out what Rambo was supposed to be. The problem was the character himself. Was he a villain, a victim, or an action hero? When Sylvester Stallone finally came aboard, he found the answer. He wanted Rambo to feel like a damaged veteran rather than a mindless killer, and that decision became the foundation of the movie. Number 15. Rambo was supposed to die. The original ending had Rambo die after his confrontation with Colonel Troutman. The scene was actually filmed, with Troutman ultimately shooting him. Then test audiences saw it, and the reaction was disastrous. Stallone also believed killing Rambo would undermine the entire point of his character. He wanted audiences to see a veteran who had been pushed to the edge but still had a chance to survive. So the production changed the ending. Rambo lived, broke down in front of Troutman, and walked away from hope alive. Number 14. Stallone thought the movie was terrible. Before First Blood became a classic, Stallone thought he had made a disaster. The first cut reportedly ran close to 3 hours, and he hated what he saw. He later recalled being so horrified by the rough version that he considered buying the movie back and destroying it rather than releasing it. Instead, he went back to the editing room. The movie was cut down dramatically, unnecessary scenes disappeared, and Rambo's dialogue was reduced. That last change was crucial. Rather than having Rambo constantly explain himself, the movie allowed other characters to describe him while he remained almost completely silent. Number 13. Kirk Douglas walked away from Rambo. One of Hollywood's biggest stars was supposed to play Colonel Troutman. Kirk Douglas had the role, but he disagreed with the filmmakers over the story's direction, especially the ending. Douglas wanted the darker conclusion from Morrell's novel, while Stallone wanted Rambo to survive. The disagreement became serious enough for Douglas to leave the production. The filmmakers immediately needed a replacement. Richard Crenna stepped in and created a completely different Troutman. His performance made the character quieter and more compassionate, giving Rambo someone who actually understood what had happened to him. Number 12. The weather turned the shoot into a nightmare. The production wanted Hope, British Columbia, to look cold and miserable. The weather initially refused to cooperate, then it went too far. Heavy snow and hazardous conditions repeatedly disrupted filming, stretching production far longer than expected. Equipment, roads, and schedules were all affected, but the misery ended up helping the movie. The freezing rain, fog, snow, and mud gave the wilderness an authenticity that a studio backlot never could. The weather became one of the movie's best special effects because nobody had to create it. Number 11. Rambo's knife was custom-made. Stallone worked with Arkansas knife maker Jimmy Lyle to create a custom survival knife specifically for the character. The large blade featured a serrated spine and a hollow handle designed to carry survival equipment. After the movie came out, audiences became obsessed with it. Replicas flooded the market, collectors began hunting for genuine Lyle knives, and the design helped fuel the survival knife craze of the 1980s. The knife became almost as recognizable as Rambo himself. Before he ever explained his survival skills, that blade told audiences exactly what kind of man they were looking at.
In Special Forces, we teach our people to stay alive in the line of duty.
I never thought of that.
Number 10. Stallone accidentally broke an actor's nose. During the police station fight, Stallone accidentally struck actor Alf Humphreys in the face and broke his nose. The production couldn't simply erase the injury because Humphreys still had scenes to shoot, so they worked around it, and his damaged nose was later covered with a bandage. The bizarre part is that Morrell's novel contains a similar moment, with Rambo breaking a policeman's nose using an elbow. Stallone hadn't planned to recreate the scene. He accidentally did it for real. Number 9. The cliff jump really hurt Stallone. The famous cliff escape looks painful because part of it genuinely was. Stallone performed part of the stunt himself, crashing through real branches during Rambo's fall. One impact even fractured his rib. The camera captured his reaction, meaning some of the pain you see on screen wasn't acting at all. Stallone was genuinely injured and still had to continue filming. The shot became one of First Blood's most memorable moments because it feels so physical. Number 8. $50,000 worth of guns vanished in January 1982. Around $50,000 worth of firearms disappeared from the set in British Columbia, including M60 machine guns and rifles used during filming. These weren't harmless plastic replicas. The weapons had been modified for movie use, but authorities still considered the theft serious. Security was tightened, Canadian authorities investigated, and military personnel became involved in protecting the remaining firearms. Years later, 3 military reservists were charged in connection with the theft. Some weapons were recovered, others never came back. Number 7. The novel's Rambo was much more vicious. David Morrell's original Rambo is far darker than Stallone's version. In the novel, Rambo kills numerous people as the manhunt spirals out of control. Sheriff Teasle is also far more complicated, portrayed as a decorated Korean War veteran with his own psychological scars. That makes the novel's conflict much darker. It's essentially 2 damaged veterans destroying each other. But the movie changes Rambo dramatically. Stallone's version is violent, but he spends most of the story trying not to kill anyone. That transformation is one of the biggest reasons audiences could sympathize with him. Number 6. Rambo kills only one person. Deputy Galt dies during the helicopter pursuit after Rambo throws a rock toward the aircraft and Galt falls. After that, Rambo repeatedly has opportunities to kill the men chasing him, but instead, he uses traps and military tactics to disable them. Even when he gets Sheriff Teasle at his mercy, he chooses not to kill him. Number 5. Brian Dennehy refused to make Teasle a cartoon. Brian Dennehy could have played Sheriff Teasle as a simple villain. Instead, he made him believable. Teasle genuinely believes he's protecting his town when he orders Rambo out. His problem is that pride prevents him from admitting he made the wrong decision. One bad choice becomes another, and eventually a routine encounter with a drifter turns into a massive manhunt. That's what makes Teasle dangerous, and by the time he realizes how badly things have gone, there's almost no way back. Number 4. Stallone fought for Rambo's breakdown. Stallone fought to keep Rambo's emotional breakdown with Trotman because he believed the character needed to explain what Vietnam had done to him. He drew from interviews with veterans when shaping the scene, giving Rambo memories of dead friends, combat, and the shock of returning home. Suddenly, the movie stops being about what Rambo can do. It becomes about what happened to him. Number 3. Stallone wasn't the first choice before Stallone became synonymous with Rambo. The role had passed through some enormous names. Robert De Niro, Clint Eastwood, Steve McQueen, Al Pacino, and Dustin Hoffman were among the actors connected to the project at different stages. Any one of them would have produced a completely different Rambo. But Stallone did more than act in the movie. He helped reshape the character, reduced his dialogue, and pushed the story toward trauma rather than simple violence. Number 2. The movie almost lost its most important scene. Rambo's final breakdown could have been much shorter. Stallone fought to preserve the emotional sequence because he didn't want the movie to end with Rambo simply surrendering. The character had spent the entire film running, fighting, and surviving. Now, for the first time, he had to explain why. Until then, Rambo looks like an incredibly dangerous man. Afterward, you realize you're watching someone who has already lost almost everything. Number 1. The disaster became a $125+ million hit. Almost everything went wrong. The project spent years trapped in development. The original ending killed Rambo. Kirk Douglas walked away. Stallone hated the first cut. Weather disrupted production. A real arsenal disappeared from the set. Then audiences finally saw the movie. Made for roughly $15 million, First Blood earned more than $125 million worldwide and transformed Stallone's character into one of the most recognizable action heroes in cinema. Rambo had entered Hope as a drifter nobody wanted. He was supposed to leave the story dead. Instead, he walked out alive and turned a troubled movie into a legend.